How's it going, guys? And I'm here with my SmackDown review. And before we get started, we'll talk about Raw. And of course, I wasn't going to watch the whole thing of Raw because I said that I would not be reviewing it going forward here on this channel. But, we're doing little recaps of what I did watch. And yeah, there was another gauntlet match. Like, we really needed another one of those. Another gauntlet match that takes up almost a total third of the show. Like an entire hour. You really need to have all 6 guys that are going to be in the chamber wrestling, just like they did on SmackDown, to determine who was going to face Reigns at the Rumble. Remember that? And it was pointless because they ended up just, shoehorning Kevin Owens back in to that spot anyway. But okay, this time it was to determine who's going to enter the chamber last. And this is kind of, who cares really? They've done this, this is not the first time that they've done this, but usually it's something a lot quicker. Like it'll be like a 4-way match or just a one-on-one match or something like that. But here, we have to have like an entire hour dedicated to these guys. It's not like they're going to be wrestling for probably another hour at the pay-per-view. This is excessive. Like, why are you going to have all these guys wrestling individual matches right before the pay-per-view when chances are they're going to be, interacting inside the chamber? So, like, you've already just kind of taken away the allure of the chamber by having all these guys in the mix already to start off. And it's the same thing where we're going to get into SmackDown. Just throw all these guys into a tag match. See, how did they manage to, do the first chamber and the first couple of chambers, even and beyond the first couple of chambers, without having to do stuff like this? They always they got to get everybody in and just have a match. They can't just swap this off with like a stimulating promo or have something interesting. And we'll get to that over on SmackDown, but on Raw, this is amazing. Like, Jeff Hardy, this is actually his first time, I believe, unless this was wrong. Somebody said that this is going to be Jeff Hardy's first WWE title match since being back in the WWE. Are you serious? He's been in the WWE. When did he come back? It was 2017, wasn't it? So he's been back for over 3 years, and this is the best that they could come up with? I mean, you really got to be shitting me. I mean, totally unbelievable that we've come this far already, and this is about as far as we've gotten. With Jeff Hardy. I mean, this guy, for all intents and purposes, I've said it for years, he should be main eventing. He really should. Because really, what's the excuse? Is there anyone else who really deserves it? Is there anyone who still portrays what it is to be a star? I mean, the history behind this guy. I mean, he is a veteran of veterans at this point. He is the guy that all these wannabe daredevils and indie guys want to be. But somehow they can never get to the level of Jeff Hardy. And they never are going to get to the level of Jeff Hardy. So, but hey, keep trying, right? So, Jeff Hardy, obviously, he's not going to win this match. We all know it's kind of obvious that unless something just totally unexpected happens and Drew loses this match, I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to having Jeff Hardy wrestle Edge at the pay-per-view, but it does not look like, not the pay-per-view, WrestleMania, the pay-per-view. But I don't think that's going to happen. And, apparently there's also going to be Fastlane, which I didn't even know. I thought we were just going to have the Chamber, and then they were going to skip a month and then go to WrestleMania. Because was Fastlane, they didn't have that pay-per-view last year, right? I could be mistaken, but I don't think that they did. I think they went right into Mania, right? I mean, maybe it was COVID that fucked that up and they were planning on having, but I don't think that that was the case at all. I really did enjoy the Alexa Bliss stuff, though. I really liked how they had that reverb on. It was, like, kind of freaky. I was also really shocked that they actually had her sitting on top of an actual pentagram. Like, even during the Attitude Era, you know, you didn't get like a full-on pentagram. Like, the Acolytes sort of had a pentagram on their tights, but they kind of put that little thing in there, so it wasn't really a pentagram. You know, they always, like, didn't want to, like, show it completely, but you knew that was what it was intended to be. But no, there was a straight-up pentagram on the floor while she was trying to bring the Fiend back to life. And, you know, a lot of this far-fetched stuff, you know, has been really goofy, like her changing from plain old Alexa Bliss into, you know, the Fiend's girlfriend, Alexa Bliss. But this I thought was pretty good. I enjoyed this for what it was. You know, this kind of had a pretty good feel to it, where I was like, you know, because her trying to get, like, Randy Orton to set her on fire and everything just kind of, like, that turned me off. See, I don't know. Maybe that makes me hypocritical. Like, I enjoyed the Fiend segment at TLC, but I didn't like, you know, Alexa Bliss and Orton, you know, that interaction. But this was pretty good. So if it was more like this more often, then I'd have no problem, because I actually thought this was good. I thought this was also a good use of the Thunderdome. Why is there not more good uses of the Thunderdome? Like, there's so many possibilities. Like, do you guys realize they have a whole, basically like a movie studio here? They could do so many interesting things that you couldn't do with a crowd. And I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head, but you could just probably kind of think up of your own stuff if you get really creative. But, you know, it's just basically so basic. But you get stuff like this every now and again, and there's so much potential, which is one of the reasons why it just pisses me off so. But anyway, let's get into SmackDown. That's enough of Raw. So we've got Roman Reigns and Edge kicking things off, and this is just, I gotta say, until Sami Zayn came out, I cannot believe that I am saying this, but this was boring. Like, seriously, like, Edge and Reigns, like, they're good on the mic, but this material, like, there's no reason to have a feud here. Like, there's no reason here. Reigns is rattled. Well, he doesn't seem rattled, but Edge is saying that he's rattled, so I guess he's rattled. I'll take his word for it, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, like, can there be a little bit more to this? Like, would it kill them to just have a teensy bit of substance to this storyline? Is that even somewhat possible? No, it can't be. But Sami Zayn came out, you know, and this is a guy where I got to give him all the credit in the world. No one was a bigger Zayn hater than me. Go back and check my old videos. I said that this guy just, you know, this guy was complete cringe, to say the very least. But he ended up redeeming himself, and he did he stood out there, and he stood out among these guys, which is very impressive, considering that he, number one, looks like shit. He doesn't look like a star, but he was actually acting like a star. And in some ways, he was projecting, I don't know, just Edge was just talking in a very low voice, and Reigns is talking in a very low voice, and it's everyone with the low voice. And then, you know, Adam Pearce, he didn't talk on the show really. He was only there backstage later on with a really light voice. I am so sick to death of the light voices all the time. I mean, come on already. Like, you know, and the funny thing is, this is the kicker here. And speaking of kicker, you know, Jey Uso with the kick to Sami Zayn, that was actually a pretty funny little spot. But you've got Roman Reigns leaning into Edge and doing a little whisper. And, like, we can't hear it. And the one thing is, I had to stop and just, like, roll my eyes at this. Because why? Because what have I been complaining about on SmackDown for the past couple of weeks, past couple of months, since I came back to do these reviews? That the audio is fucking atrocious. But for some reason, I don't know, but for some reason, some way, shape, or form, the audio just wasn't supposed to be audible at this point. So, you know, we don't get to hear what Reigns whispers, and this is supposed to be intrigue. Can I ask a question? Does anybody give a single fuck with Roman Reigns whispered into Edge's ear? Sweet little nothings? I could not care less. Like, is that the intrigue to the storyline? Ooh, what did he whisper? Like, I am sorry, but you have to give more than that. This is a WrestleMania match, for Christ's sakes. Just give a little something. Some effort. I'm making you, like, rattled. Like, come on. I mean, that's just the minimal amount of effort that is just humanly possible, I think. We've got Naka Murphy defeating Apollo Crews. And meanwhile, Big E is, you know, at ringside. And I got a kick out of the snack table with the TV dinner and the foot bath. And, you know, Big E was pretty good on commentary. But I don't even know what he was talking about. He said that he's going to have so much respect for Naka Murphy when he retires. And then he also says, stop talking about Crews. Talk about how Naka Murphy should be a world champion. But, like, he's wrestling for the Intercontinental title, like, you know, contendership here. So, like, okay, so you're basically saying he's better than you. Because you're Intercontinental champion. You're not world champion. You're saying Naka Murphy should be a world champion. Even though you haven't been a world champion. And, I mean, you're not fighting for that belt. So, well, I mean, this was like, I don't know. But, obviously this was unscripted. And I'm very surprised at Big E. But I was just like, what is he even talking about? Like, retire? Like, why are we talking about this man's retirement, like, already? First of all, I'm not going to care about Naka Murphy now, and I'm not going to care about him when he retires. Because as far as I'm concerned, his WWE career, I don't care what he's done in Japan. I've never seen any of his stuff in Japan. I don't care. Oh, you should watch his stuff in Japan. You're a big phony. I don't care what you have to say. I only care what he's done in WWE. Because that's what I'm watching. That's what I want to watch. So that's all that matters to me. So this is the then and now, basically. So he's not doing anything right now. So I don't care about him. All right? And what I've seen so far from his WWE career, he's had a lot of chances. He's won the Rumble. He's had the match with AJ. Wasn't even that great of a match at WrestleMania. It was a torturous feud that they had. And you could blame it on creative. But, like, the matches were boring. There was nothing to, you know, Naka Murphy didn't do anything in those opportunity windows to really make it seem like, oh, wow. Well, you know, not even make it seem like alluring where, oh, well, this guy's good, but they're not using him to his full potential. No, it's just like he doesn't deserve to be there. That's what I was getting from it. Not that they weren't using him to his full potential, but what is this guy doing winning a Royal Rumble and beating all the top stars? He was beating Orton and Cena. Then after this, you know, so Naka Murphy beats him, but then we just have Crews just beat the ever-living shit out of him after the match, hits him with the steel steps, hits Big E with the steel steps. Then they do this really fake-looking spot where the referee tells him to drop the steps when he's in the ring, and he drops the steps, and the camera doesn't pan to the outside because they don't want you, they couldn't figure out how to do this spot without giving Big E a concussion. And the steel steps are like a mile away from Big E, and he's laying there, and it's just like, well, the steps didn't bounce, so how are they that far away from him? Next! Just, come on. Like, I am so sick and tired of them doing these things that would not be possible inside an arena full of people. So, you know how I said before, let's take advantage of this arena? You know, people are going to say, oh, you're a hypocrite. You just said, let's do unique things that are not possible, you know, when you have a crowd full of people. No. This is what I'm saying here. You could go places, you could film things, you could do things that you couldn't do because you're by yourself. You're there all goddamn day. You're not wrestling anywhere else. Does anyone realize that? These stars, they're there all week, basically. These producers are there all week. They do one show for Raw, one show for SmackDown, and if there's a pay-per-view on a Sunday, then so be it. But, you know, other than that, there's no house shows. They have all the time in the world to think of everything. But they're going to do this, where obviously, if they dropped the steel steps there when there was a crowd, people would see that that's just not possible. That'd be phony as shit, because everyone would see that the steel steps didn't come anywhere into contact with Big E's head. But I digress. I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing with Alexa Bliss. You couldn't do that stuff with her changing into her alter ego when a crowd is there. So why do it now? Because we're never going to see that stuff again, and we just know that that's not possible. And anyone with a brain, you know, suspend your disbelief, but do it within reason, is all I'm saying here. There's no need for this stuff. And first of all, they're using this spot on Apollo Crews, which the ship has sailed. The ship is out of the harbor. It's across the Atlantic. It's on the other side of the world. It's in a whole different hemisphere. I mean, that ship is taken off for space. It transformed into a sailing ship, into a rocket ship, and it's already out of the galaxy. That's how far away from giving a shit about Apollo Crews that I am. Then we've got Seth Rollins coming out, and for some reason he is back to his old music. He had that music last week, which he's like the Messiah, but he's really not. He's talking about embracing a vision, but he's just babbling. Like, we have no idea what he's talking about. He's talking about Cesaro, and this is the kicker. Cesaro had like several backstage segments where Edge came up to him during an interview. There was shenanigans backstage with all the Elimination Chamber competitors, and we're not seeing Seth Rollins exact revenge on Cesaro during the interview. Edge is going up to him. So Seth Rollins, if he's that angry with Cesaro, you guys are in an arena that's, you know, it's not that hard to find him in an empty arena is all I'm saying, with not that much personnel backstage. So he's out here babbling about Cesaro and his vision and whatever he's talking about. I mean, I will say this. I do like that they've upgraded, or, you know, he has upgraded his wardrobe. But, like, I'm kind of confused. Like, he's still sort of supposed to be the Messiah character, but a slightly different character. I don't get it. I really do not get it. Like, I would just refine the preacher character. Instead, they're kind of like, you know, this guy's coming out, and he shouldn't have his burn it down. Like, I'm sorry, you know, this guy is not supposed to be like a metalhead character, so I don't know why he has this theme still. Like, it doesn't fit his character at all. You know, he's mad at Cesaro, but I guess he's going to wait to the Elimination Chamber to screw him over, I'm guessing. I'm very surprised that they didn't, like, book him for the Elimination Chamber, like, to be in the match. Like, I just kind of find that odd. that they didn't factor him in, like, with his return so he could, like, get in there. Because as far as I'm concerned, like, the Raw Chamber is far more, like, credible competitors than what we have in the SmackDown Chamber. And I get, like, in the Raw one that the champion is in there, so one spot, but, you know, I'll get to that in a moment. So we've got Natalya and Tamina defeating Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. And, I am looking at Tamina here. And I'm looking at Reigns in the opening segment. Why is she not out there? What is she doing with Natalya? Let me tell you something about Natalya. Okay? I'll give a shout out to General Jerry, because I have not done that on this channel. I like General Jerry. I'm a General Jerry fan, so I'm gonna shout out his wrestling juggernauts. I know I don't really post a lot on there, but I do belong to their group on Facebook. I've tried to do a few posts in there. It's a good group, some good posts. But he did a good video. I believe the video was released today, if I'm not mistaken, on this stupid shit that Natalya got herself wrapped up in. Which, if I were controlling the narrative, I'd put the heat on Natalya, not put the heat on the WWE on Fox account, which, what isn't it, like, who is that run by? I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was Ryan Satin, but Ryan Satin has his own account. He might be in control of that one too. I don't know. But anyway, if you were not aware, like one of those little games that they have on like Facebook. It's usually on Facebook, could be on Instagram. It might be on Twitter. I don't think they'd really do it so much on Twitter. But, they'll give you, like, a bunch of boxes, right? And there's some columns and rows. And they'll show, they will do this with celebrities. They'll do it with, team sports, like baseball players and football players. And they've done it with wrestlers before. They'll say you have $20. Now, make, like, a main event or make, like, a dream team or something like that. And what they'll do is, They'll put some people with $1. They'll put another column with $5 and like another one like with $10. So, you've got to like choose who you want. So Natalya ended up in the row with $1 because she's like a mid-carder in the women's division. She really hasn't done anything very significant lately, and it's just a fucking game, okay? So, like, there's that, too. So, it's not like we're sitting here, how much should she be worth? No one gives a shit, okay? So, it doesn't really matter. But she was, like, outraged by that. I've accomplished all this in my career, and you value me at $1. This is disgraceful. She gets like her total Karen on. It's cringy as fuck. It's terrible. It's total left-wing liberal type of shit. And, I think she kind of confirmed her stance right there. Like, Natalya, like, how she views stuff. And, like, oh my God. So cringy. Put on your cat ears already. I mean, holy shit. That total cringe in every way, shape, and form. So, General Jerry, just tore this apart, and he did a good job. And, well, I mean, Natalya really needs to get a life. Seriously, like, if you're looking at a meme online, and you're getting triggered over it, and you feel the need to, like, rage, like, get a life. For God's sakes, do something productive. You're on a national television show. You belong to one of the biggest companies in entertainment. And the thing is, you've done very, very little to get yourself over. I'm sorry, Natalya is talented, but she's done very, very little to get herself over. And I know I've ranted before and said they'd given her the fart gimmick and everything, and she was dealt the bad hand. But like I said, she has had, just like Naka Murphy, opportunity after opportunity to shine. And as far as I'm concerned, she has not really taken advantage of those opportunities to really stand out. Like, I'm just saying, like, let's take an example here. Someone like Elias. Elias has been buried to fuck. But the thing is, the man has taken so much of the opportunities provided to him through the TV time that he has received to really make himself stand out among the crowd. And Elias is like one of my favorite superstars, even though he's just a mid-carder. Because why? Because he's got an old school feel. He looks like a star. He acts like a star. He is a star. It doesn't kind of matter where he's ranked because he's taken advantage of the opportunities. So I know that it's more of just a booking thing. It's more of a creative thing, and it's not him because he's tried, and it's been reported before that he has tried to offer suggestions on how the show can be better. And because you're not allowed to do that, he gets buried. What's Natalya doing? She's putting on cat ears. There you go. And she's getting triggered over memes. Yeah. Okay. So, like, now you see, what Undertaker was talking about. I mean, he is so correct about these stars of today. 110% correct that these wrestlers are total cringe. And you can see the way how people are reacting, that they've taken it to heart. And when people take something to heart in this manner anyway, you know that he was correct. So I want to just, he'll never watch this video, but I want to thank The Undertaker for speaking some truth and showing why he truly is one of the greatest of all time. Not just in the ring, but in real life, by actually speaking some much needed truth on this dying business. And I know, like, what I mean is the WWE, based on their billion-dollar deals, is going to be alive for probably forever. Or, for a very long time. Anyone who tells you the WWE is going out of business is fucking stupid. But I will tell you this. The business, like, as, wrestlers and credibility and the way we look at wrestlers, it's dead. It is dead. It is buried. Kind of really poetic, right? That The Undertaker, like, pretty much delivered a tombstone pile driver to the wrestling business, crossed their arms over their chests, pinned them for the 3 count, and ended their fucking careers. Because The Undertaker just destroyed the business. He blew the top off of it and showed them that they're really just a bunch of namby-pamby, crybaby, SJW motherfuckers. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on it, folks. Really, a meme, a thing that we've seen 1,000 times, and you're getting bent out of shape about it. Grow up. You're an adult. Grow a spine. Grow a backbone. Like, it doesn't apply here, but get, like, a sense of humor. Stop being so serious. Stop taking yourself so serious. It's enough already. And you're like, Natalya, you're not the greatest of all time. We're like, oh my God. Because The Rock was even, like, no, he was on a different one. I don't know which one she was on. It doesn't matter. But they had the post taken down, which is like, oh my God, it's so offensive. Take it down. Oh. Get a grip on reality. For the love of God. So Billy Kay comes out, during this match. And Billy Kay, I think that this girl really is like the total package. Not only does she have like a good, funny character, but she was looking pretty damn fine here, I have to say. And, so anyway, Tamina just demolishes her with a kick. And Samina just, like, she's got her facials down. This girl gets it. It's just such a waste. like, since she debuted, like, how could you not know what to do with a girl that looks like Tamina? I mean, honestly, like, if you want to just have Nia Jax be the Valley Girl, that's fine, but have Tamina. Like, this is such a waste of just good talent. She's a good wrestler. She's credible. She's not like a 90-pound girl that could break in half. Like, this is a credible female wrestler. But, she's just in the team with the cattier girl. It's getting offended by memes. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that Tamina's probably not sitting online all day and getting offended by memes when she's not wrestling. I'm just going to take a guess there. I think maybe Nia Jax would, but I don't think Tamina would. Anyway, we've got this Ding Dong Hello segment, and I don't know like who's doing the wardrobe for Bayley, but oh God, like I don't know, like are they really just trying to make her even less attractive than she like already is? I mean, I don't know about you guys. I've seen people just say like, okay, like Bayley, like okay, she's fit, but like I don't know, like I have said this before. I look at Bayley and just like there's nothing attractive about her at all. Which is like makes me really just kind of get grossed out when people just like, oh man, Bayley, ooh, just no. Really, really terrible, like just a terrible segment here, where you've got Bianca Belair, where I cannot stand everyone just smiling. There's fake laughter. Bayley's fake laughing, Sasha's fake laughing, Bianca's fake laughing, put on smiles. Same thing with Nia Jax, and you got Shayna Baszler like attempting to have a personality, which is just not humanly possible apparently for her. I don't know why they are insisting on having her talk. She's doing like an impression of Bianca Belair. And it's just like the worst like mocking imitation thing, like, oh, I'm the EST, like what are you doing? Like, this is not funny. This is not a good promo. This is not a good segment. Reginald comes out to defend Sasha. He's getting cornered by Nia Jax. I'll be honest, like, it wasn't like anything good or like, spectacular or anything like that. But Reginald actually sounded the most professional on the mic. I'll be perfectly honest with you. He's the only one that didn't sound like a total goof out there. I'm just saying, like, Bianca Belair is impressive, in the ring, strength-wise. But, like, as far as personality, she's just not as annoying as Sasha Banks. But the laughing and the smiling, like everyone's like fucking demented, like they're all they're all just laughing it up like it's some kind of like comedy or something. Like I don't know, it's almost like I don't feel like I'm in on the joke, but no, it's like that sarcastic laugh where they say something like ha, like enough, stop doing that. I'm so sick and tired. Bayley does the laugh. Sasha does the laugh. Bianca Belair does the laugh. Ha, 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 ha. Then Carmella is doing the laugh. She's not there. We'll see her later on, but she did the laugh too, like a few weeks ago. Everyone's laughing. And no one's telling any jokes, but they're laughing. Like, so they have a match. I don't know how Nia Jax is getting pinned after a double drop kick, but Reginald lands on top of her and he gets the 3 count. I gotta say, I am not crazy about just because this guy is smaller that they're like making him almost on par with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, and he's a man, but they're mixing him in there like this is normal. I have said this from the very beginning when they did this over in Impact Wrestling with Tessa Blanchard. I said no. No. Listen, no one is ever going to be able to beat China where I'm going to like look at it and be like, yeah, she deserves to be in the ring with the men. So stop trying to do that. And I don't even think they're trying to do that. This is more of just trying to say that men and women are equals and that we should be like looking at it like, oh, well, they're on par with each other, so this is fine. No, it's not. Stop it. Okay? I don't like it. A lot of people seem like they were okay with Tessa Blanchard beating Brian Cage. And I remember a lot of people were like saying like they were trying to reason with me. Oh, well, Brad, you know, she kind of just like caught Brian Cage. Brian Cage is a massive fucking bodybuilder with shoulders and biceps that are just huge as fuck. I mean, this is a huge man. And I don't know how people think that Tessa Blanchard, who's in great shape, should not be pinning anyone that looks like that. But somehow she did. And she ended up winning. She didn't win it from Cage. She went on to wrestle Sami Callihan. But she beat him too. After he had beaten a lot of guys. And we were just like supposed to sit there and be like, this is fantastic. And this is good booking. And this is good storytelling. And this is just plain old good. But it wasn't good. It looked stupid, unrealistic, and bad. I'm sorry, but like, I know this is a narrative that's very popular in the world today, but no, this is not right to have the men and the women together. Like, it's one thing if you want to do like, you know, a intergender tag match like they used to, but you know, not have them like equals with the men, because the men are supposed to be stronger, and they are. And I get like Nia Jax is a lot bigger than him, but I'm sure Reginald could, you know, if he wanted to, God forbid he should never, you know, beat up Sasha Banks, because he could in reality. Because I know it'd be controversial to say so, but I think that Reginald is probably stronger than Sasha Banks. I'm just going to take a wild guess and say so. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. And I know people don't like hearing that nowadays, but that is really the truth of the matter. So stop trying to like fool us and everything, because first of all, this is wrestling. This shouldn't try to be some type of political narrative or let's get along and everything, but I know that's kind of the thing here. Anyway, let's move on. We've got Rey Mysterio and Dominic, and they defeated Otis and Chad Gable by disqualification in what can only be described as probably the weirdest, confusing finish, dumbest finish I've ever seen. Now, okay, so Otis and Chad Gable officially turned heel. And they beat up Rey Mysterio. And they beat up Dominic. And the referee calls for the bell. And the thing is, there should be no excuse for lack of communication when you have no real crowd. You only have people being streamed in on screens. And Michael Cole and Corey Graves don't know what the fuck just happened. They're like, what? And they can't even say it. They're just stuttering and stammering all over the place. They have no idea what the finish to this match is. I don't know what the finish to this match is. I'm like, was there a low blow that I didn't see? Or something like that? No, it's just because they wouldn't get out of the ring. So, but like, could they not tell us that? Is that so hard to figure out? Like, honestly, Michael Cole has been at ringside for over 2 whole decades. Right? He's been there since 1997. And he's been on commentary since 1998. Right? So the thing is, he should probably know what the hell's happening here. but someone was like either late in his earpiece or the referee didn't signal properly, whatever. But like Otis as a heel and another character change for Chad Gable. I'm sorry, but Otis just has the face. Now I said it, I like Otis. I think there's a lot of promise in Otis. I think Otis has some comedic value that's untapped. But Otis is a heel? Is anyone buying that? Like, I'm sorry, but that's just not something that I don't think it is possible for him to be a heel with the way he looks. It's just, I don't know. This is a guy that really has a look, unless they completely change his look and he stops doing the goofy facial expressions and everything. But the guy has an endearing look to him that they haven't even taken advantage of. They have no idea how to use him. And first of all, Vince McMahon was a big fan of this guy, apparently. Obviously, that's evidenced by him winning the Money in the Bank, only to take it away from him, and then deciding that, well, he's not really that great, he's just a mid-car after all. Well, I don't know. Anyway, just turn him heel, and heel is not for him. I mean, even that, he's like, oh, yeah! Like, is that heelish to you? No, it's not to me, and it shouldn't be to anyone else. I don't know. Like, anyway, backstage we got Carmella, and she ends up getting upset with Reginald. She throws the wine in his face because he was teaming up with Sasha and Bianca Belair, and like he just basically takes it and everything. And okay. Anyway, let's move on to the 6-man tag main event, because of course it's a 6-man tag. Why wouldn't it be a 6-man tag? It has to be a 6-man tag. So, you've got Edge on commentary. And, I don't know what it is. Like, Edge is just like, I don't know, he's probably taking the same stuff that Adam Pearce is. Like, I don't know, he just seems sedated on this show. Like, I don't know, he was doing a good job building up to that match with Orton, remember, on Raw, when he was doing the promo and everything and leading up to the Rumble. He was doing good, like, with the promos, and they were intense and everything like that. But I don't know, he's just very laid back. I don't get it. But anyway, it's a 6-man tag. And, like, this is just like all these guys in here. And I saw backstage, you had the segment with Edge and Corbin, where Corbin's like showing him his Rolex or his, whatever it was, his Timex, his Rolex, his timepiece. And Edge says, I have a timepiece. And he shows him a cell phone. And he says, oh, this has email. It tells the time and everything. And like, okay, it wasn't as bad as the H phone with Hogan. It's not as bad as that, but I will say this. Like, this is a joke that, like, somebody would say back in, like, 2002. Like, I'm just saying, like, and it probably wouldn't even be funny back then. But, like, that's the best that Edge could come up with. And I don't think that's his line or whatever it is. Or maybe it's just because there's no storylines to be had. It's just random shit, basically. And I'm looking at Kevin Owens and Edge backstage. And I'm looking at this comparison. And Edge here has his street clothes on and everything. And, Owens is wearing what he always wears, of course. But these guys, like Edge, is a lot older than Kevin Owens. And he's in so much better shape. Also, you could argue that he might be in the best shape of his life. Well into his 40s. After all the injuries and everything that Edge has, still able to work out and all that, and really getting a really efficient and effective workout in that really seems to be benefiting his body. And Owens, who's probably never touched a weight in his life, never stepped foot inside a gym, probably, just never had like a protein drink or anything like that. I mean, I don't drink protein myself anymore, but I'm just making an observation. He looks like shit. He looked like a random fan pulled out of the crowd backstage talking to Edge. This was such a bad visual. Like, how is nobody at WWE looking at this and saying, oh shit, look at this. This guy looks like a fucking bum compared to Edge. Edge looks immaculate. He looks like a star. He's in shape like a true wrestling star. Kevin Owens looks like a backyard wrestling bum. And he's in terrible shape. And there's no excuse for this. Do you remember when Big Show was actually demoted to OVW to get him in better shape? Do you remember that? Because I do. Do you remember they did the same thing with Mark Henry? They did this with a lot of wrestlers. If they were too heavy or they were out of shape, they'd say, no. Get him off TV, send him down to OVW, get him in shape. Look, they had Yokozuna. Go watch Icons. That was a very good... I never watched Icons before, but that was a very good presentation where Yokozuna... It's a very sad story, too, where Yokozuna, like, a guy with a lot of presence. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was not in shape at all, Yokozuna. But, like, man, like, this is a guy that where he could, he could forego the workout because he was Yokozuna. Kevin Owens is, well, he's Kevin Owens. I'm just saying, but they took Yokozuna off TV because he was too heavy. Because they just couldn't have the guy lumbering around the ring like that in terrible shape. Because it was a bad look. But somehow this is an okay look. Because it's 2020, it's 2021. And it's all fine. We're not going to body shame anybody. Does anybody remember that Triple H had Chris Hero, Cassius Ohno, kick the fuck out of NXT because he says, I don't want to work out. Just like Robert Pattinson, because in Batman, I didn't want to work out. It's a negative male stereotype. It's the same thing. Anyway, so Daniel Bryan taps out Sami Zayn. And I'm just looking at these guys. Like, Bryan, he's just not done really anything of significance lately. And he's on creative. And everyone's praising, oh, Bryan, you're doing such a great job on creative. I'm a big Daniel Bryan fan. And I don't think he's doing a good job on creative because what's creative on this show? What's going well on this show? Not much. Cesaro, I mean, I've already said it. You could see my rant from last week in my review. I said I don't really think that Cesaro is all he's cracked up to be according to the fans. I don't really think he's that amazing. I've praised him in the past. He has great strength and, I think it's impressive, what he's been able to do. And I think he's a good in-ring talent, but he has no presence. He has no personality. There's just nothing there. I'm sorry, but I already just kind of said with Cesaro, I'm just not into this guy. And I still am not. Kevin Owens speaks for himself. Jey Uso, this was a guy that they had him in a good position until they decided to just job him out after the feud with Reigns. Sami Zayn, the guy's doing a pretty good job. I talked about the opening segment. But, world title contention, no. Baron Corbin, again, a guy with potential, but none of these people are in any position where they could be a threat to Roman Reigns. I guess, except for Kevin Owens, because they've made he could almost beat Reigns, but never does. And I don't think he's going to be doing it right before WrestleMania. So anyway, after the match, we have Edge coming in, spearing Jey Uso. Everyone's attacking each other. Reigns rushes in, hits the spear on Edge. That's the end of the show. And, like, yeah, I'm going to review Elimination Chamber. Yes, I will be watching it tomorrow night. And probably have the review up on Monday. But, like, do we even care about this? I mean, I guess I'm kind of interested to see if they are going to keep Drew and Reigns in their spots as champions. I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that they will, but you never know. You really just never know with them. Because we've thought for sure that things were going to be a certain way, you know, before, and they just change it at the last minute. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to be getting, we're going to get Edge versus Roman Reigns. It's almost a sure thing. I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. And Drew McIntyre, I don't know who the hell he would wrestle. To tell you the truth, I don't know. I guess it would be Sheamus, right? I mean, who else could it really be at this point? Unless they do it at Fastlane instead. I don't know. But anyway, there you go, folks. There's your SmackDown review. I'll see you for the Elimination Chamber review. I'm also going to have a few more videos, I think, before then. We'll see what happens. Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching the video today. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.